the Civil Aeronautics Board, now known as the National Transportation Safety Board, said, let's form a fraternal organization. 6 years later, they held their first seminar in Washington, D.C. This is now our golden anniversary, our 50th anniversary. ISASI has come a long way in 56 years. We are celebrating other milestones here in the Netherlands. KLM Royal Dutch Airlines is celebrating 100 years, the only airline to become 100 years old with the same name. Congratulations to KLM. And also here in the Netherlands, the Netherlands Aerospace Center is also 100 years old. 10 years after KLM started, the KLM pilots organized to become Dutch ALPA, which is our host sponsor. 10 years later, Delft University of Engineering was founded. 20 years ago, the Dutch Safety Board, formerly known as the Dutch Transportation Safety Board, was founded. The Netherlands have an extremely rich history of service to aviation and to the flying public. ISASI is proud to be here and help everyone celebrate their anniversaries and to continue to enhance aviation safety through our various presentations and global networking. Despite 2 recent high-profile accidents involving the Boeing 737 MAX aircraft, most people in this room recognize that aviation safety has improved consistently for its entire history. For its first 80 years or so, commercial aviation reduced its fatal accident rate by 1/3 to 1/2 every decade. The only change in that long-term trend is that the rate of improvement actually has accelerated in the past 2 decades. I'm not going to try to convince this audience that ISASI and its members have been the only factor in that century-long achievement, but ISASI and its membership can claim their share for the entire history. Since it was established in 1964, ISASI has tried to advance aviation safety by providing professional forum for the exchange of ideas, experiences, and knowledge acquired by air safety professionals. I believe it has succeeded admirably in that goal. In ISASI's early years, major fatal accidents were almost a routine affair, and that was an era of far smaller system we have today. In the interim, of course, the system has expanded exponentially. Today's system manages about 10 times as many passenger aircraft and about 15 times as many flights, each of which carries twice the number of seats and 3 times as many passengers on average. Some basic numbers help tell the story. From 1963 through 1965, spanning the year before, the year of, and the year after ISASI's founding, the world's much smaller commercial airline industry suffered 89 fatal hull losses in passenger operations with nearly 3,200 fatalities. Compare those numbers to the past 3 years for which we have complete data, 2016 through 2018. The world airlines had just 10 fatal hull losses in passenger operations with 760 fatalities. Run the math, and you will find that the risk of fatal injury to anyone on board a passenger airplane today is about 0.5% of the risk when ISASI began. Equally striking is the mix of accidents when ISASI started. From 1963 through 1965, control flight into terrain, CFIT, accounted for 28 of the 89 passenger hull losses with just over 1,000 fatalities. Add CFIT into water, obstacles on the ground, and the numbers jump to 43 fatal hull losses with more than 1,600 fatalities. In contrast, over the past 3 years, the world airlines suffered just 1 fatal accident involving CFIT into high terrain, a BHC-6 with 23 occupants on a scheduled flight in Nepal. ISASI and its members can take a lot of credit for the virtually eliminating CFIT accidents. A long-term ISASI member, Don Bateman, developed the first of several generations of GPWS equipment, and professional investigators continue to make the case for requiring GPS equipment. In fact, Mr. Bateman was also instrumental in developing TCAS, which could have averted 3 more of the fatal accidents in 1963 through 65. Major breakthroughs in safeties like GPWS and TCAS are rare, but ISASI members played important parts in other sudden advances, and they have been especially important in the steady improvement in areas like stronger operating procedures, adherence to and the quality of checklists, and other incremental improvements that over time add up to major improvements. Our members, while employed by governments, airlines, manufacturers, unions, and consultants, have issued thousands of aviation safety recommendations which have directly and indirectly improved air safety. However, as ISASI, we cannot rest on our accomplishments. We individually and collectively must continue to maintain and improve the aviation safety record. The areas of future concern, in my opinion, are labor shortages, both in pilots and maintenance, cargo accidents, automation, managing rapid growth, unmanned aircraft systems, and of course, suicide. The aviation industry continues to accelerate into the age of automation, but I want you to remember that the primary driver for increased automation is often efficiency rather than safety. I hope that you enjoy this seminar and you enjoy the Netherlands, the most beautiful country. Thank you. I'd like to have the 4 Rudy Kapusin students come forward, please. These are the students that you'll hear more about them as they give their talks. I believe one of So as the seminar progresses here, when you walk up to one of them, I want you to say hello to them, introduce yourself. And I typically tell them something in private, but I'm going to tell it to them in public. I don't want to see the 4 of you talking to one another, because the guy down next to you cannot give you a job. Only those people out there can. So enjoy the seminar and give them another big warm welcome. Now I'd like to have Captain Tislakis come forward. Go ahead, thank you folks. You will hear much more about Captain Tislakis Thursday evening, but Captain Tislakis is the winner of the Jury Letter Award. So let's give him a warm welcome. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's my distinct pleasure to introduce our guest speaker, giving the keynote speech. He's the chairman of the Dutch Safety Court. Please give a big warm welcome to Jay Dasselbaum.
Thank you very much, Frank. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me congratulate you, the members of ISASI, with the 50th edition of your annual seminar. The fact that so many delegates have gathered here today illustrates the importance of the Society's activities in promoting the exchange of ideas and experiences in relation to aircraft accident investigations. This continues to make ISASI a valuable and respected organization in the field of aviation safety. I therefore find it an honor today, and I'm proud that you have chosen the city of The Hague as the location for this milestone event. And I hope you will enjoy your stay here in our international city of peace and justice. As this year's seminar's theme, you've chosen to ask a question. Future safety has in the past become irrelevant. Before answering that question, I would like to take a brief look at our country's aviation history, as Frank already did. I mentioned a couple of key events. This year, the Netherlands celebrate a century of Dutch aviation. It all started with the founding in July 1919 of the Fokker factory, which which continued to produce aircrafts until 1996. Our national airline carrier, KLM, was founded 100 years ago next month, on October the 7th, performing its first scheduled flight from Amsterdam to London in 1920. Its flights took off from Schiphol Airport, which had started operations as a military airfield in 1916 and was to become one of the most important aviation hubs in the world. In 1937, the Aviation Safety Board was founded, which investigated occurrences in Dutch aviation. This board had legal powers to impose penalties, and I believe we reached an important milestone in 1992 when these powers were actually abolished. It shifted the focus from safety investigation towards learning from occurrences. Meanwhile, our government got convinced of the value of a permanent investigative institute overseeing a number of sectors of society, including aviation. This would eliminate the need to set up temporary investigation committees each time an accident occurred. This resulted in the establishment of the Dutch Safety Board in 2005. Taking into account the experiences from the Aviation Safety Board, it was explicitly decided that investigations should focus on lessons to be learned, disregarding questions of blame or liability. The Dutch Safety Board is authorized to conduct safety investigations in nearly any sector in our society. In addition to occurrences in the aviation, shipping, rail, or petrochemical industries, the board may, for example, investigate occurrences in construction, healthcare, as well as the military. It's important to note that we are fully independent from Dutch government or any other party. Our investigators have far-reaching statutory powers. To give you one example, only the police and Dutch Safety Board personnel are allowed to access a crash site. If other parties decide to conduct their own investigation into the same occurrence, coordination protocols ensure that both investigations don't counteract each other. All information from the Dutch Safety Board investigations is legally protected. Apart from our published reports, no information is released. Neither statements made in the context of an investigation, nor gathered data, test results, or documents produced, including the published reports, can actually be used as evidence in criminal court cases, disciplinary or civil proceedings. None of our investigators are obliged to give evidence in investigations in court. With regard to aviation, prosecution is only initiated when occurrences are caused intentionally or by gross negligence. The Dutch Safety Board occasionally conducts investigations into the follow-up of recommendations it made in previous reports. For example, in our 2015 MH17 crash report, we made a number of recommendations regarding flight routes. Follow-up investigation into the current practice with regard to flying over conflict zones was performed and published this year. Many of you here present have contributed to that report, investigating bodies, airlines, civil aviation authorities, and I would like to thank you all for your assistance. As a result of your contributions, we were able to bring together important information in this report. If you are interested to learn more about this subject, this Thursday, one of our investigators will give a presentation about the outcomes. In addition to our investigation into specific occurrences and the follow-up of recommendations, there is a third type of investigation we sometimes initiate. The Dutch Safety Board may suspect opportunities for safety improvement after a number of minor incidents, or as a result of unsafe situations that have arisen gradually. A recent example is an investigation into air traffic safety at Amsterdam's airport Schiphol, the report of which was published in 2017. was concluded that the airport's current concept of operation is approaching its limits. Therefore, a decision on further growth of the airport beyond its current ceiling of 500,000 movements should only be made after current and foreseen safety risks have been systematically removed. So, let me get back to the question concerning this year's theme. Has the past become irrelevant? I think not. Of course, we have to respond to new developments that may require a new approach, but I hope that I've been able to show you how the past 100 years of Dutch aviation have taught us valuable lessons on aviation safety, and therefore we need to remain aware of our past. The mission of the Dutch Safety Board is to increase safety even further through investigation, keeping an eye on the past while looking ahead in order to keep aviation as safe as possible. I wish you all an inspiring seminar, and thank you for your attention.
Good morning. Welcome to ISASI's 50th seminar. My name is Chad Ballantyne. I have the privilege and honor of serving as your secretary for ISASI, as well as the Rudy Kapustin Scholarship Selection Committee chair. So a few logistics for this morning. So please take a look at your brochure. So this is the main hall where we'll be doing the majority of our presentations. After the break, we'll be breaking into other sessions where we'll have a parallel session going on in Europe 1 and 2. So please make sure you take a look at which presentations you'd like to look at. This year's going to be a little bit different in terms of questions and answers for our main hall. So in your brochure, you should have gotten some information on how to do Q&A. So if you go to your smart device, you can go to SLI, so Sierra Lima India, .do, Delta Oscar, and if you type in the code ISASI 2019 with no spaces, you'll be able to ask a question, and we'll be doing those questions live. You'll also be allowed to vote on a question, so some of the more popular questions will get asked in the order of popularity. So keep that in mind as we have the seminar. So 50 years of ISASI seminars. So how many folks are here for the first time? Raise your hand. That's fantastic. It's great to have everybody here specifically for the first time. How many people have you been here for 5 years? Several hands. Excellent. What about 10? Great. Okay, 15. Now we're starting to get a little bit further. Excellent. Getting a few less hands, but it's fantastic. Frank's there. 20? Okay. I don't know if we're going to get all the way to 50, so 25. I see a couple of hands. 30.
Wow.
Okay. 35. Bob, 35. Excellent. 40. Okay. So it looks like 35. Fantastic. So that's great. Thank you, everybody, for being here. This morning, session before the break, we'll have a presentation, and then we're going to hear from two of our Rudy Kapustin Scholarship winners. Like I said, I have the privilege of serving as the selection committee chair for this committee. The scholarship is named after Rudy Kapustin, an NTSB investigator who investigated over 70 accidents over his tenure, including Air Florida 90. His family started this in memory of all the ISASI members who have flown west. It's 100% funded by your donations. So during the business meeting on Wednesday, we'll do a reverse raffle. So be thinking about what you want to give to the scholarship fund as that reverse raffle, because it's completely funded. The 4 students we have with us today, It's those monies that we get in that allow them to be here. It funds them to come and do their presentations, and it's a fantastic opportunity to introduce these scholarship winners to the next generation, because they are that next generation of air safety investigators. So just keep that in mind as you're thinking about how much you'd like to give. So this morning, I have the privilege of introducing Mike Poole. Mike Poole is no stranger to ISASI. He was the 2010 Jerry Lederer Award winner. Mike started with the Transportation Safety Board in 1977, and after 20 years with the TSB, started what we now know as what became Flightscape, and then is now the CEO of Plain Sciences. Mike is here today to share with us about an investigation that he worked involving a 737 accident with the Papua New Guinea AIB. So with that, Mike, welcome to the stage.
Good morning, everyone. Mr. Namani from the Papua New Guinea Act Investigation Commission sends his apologies. He was unable to obtain a visa to get here. It's quite an arduous process, apparently. And the plan was for him to do the first half of this presentation and for me to do the second half. So I'll be doing both halves. Basically, we were setting up a flight recorder capability in Papua New Guinea around the time of a 737 accident into Chuk Lagoon. And so we ended up providing a fair bit of technical support to them. And we're just going to present what we found. The crew at the AIC in Papua New Guinea are very fast learners and indoctrination by fire. So they just were getting their lab capability set up when the accident happened. So on behalf of Mr. Namani, we'd like to share with you this recent experience involving a major accident as a relatively new agency and a relatively small country. This works. All right, Papua New Guinea is east of Indonesia, north of Australia. It's a little bit of a challenge to get there. And they are an independent agency governed by a commission, which Mr. Imani leads, and they are separate from the judiciary body. Papua New Guinea is about 500,000 square miles or kilometers in size, and about 8.2 million people. This is Mr. Namani's investigation team in their traditional field attire. They do follow ICAO Annex 13 standards and recommended practices, and they are an ICAO member state, and they were very anxious to pull their weight as demonstrated on this investigation. So on Friday, September 28, 2018, a Boeing 737 8 Bravo Kilo crashed into the Chuk Lagoon in the Federated States of Micronesia while on final approach. The state of current, Micronesia, initially conducted the investigation, but they subsequently delegated the entire investigation to Papua New Guinea Authority.